Hey everyone! In case you've been wondering, what's Morgan been thinking about recently? It's not just pumpkin spice lattes. And I mean, kinda that it's flannel season again. Loving it! And no, it's not just the new release. It's actually a little game called Stardew Valley. And if you haven't heard of it before, I'll give you a very, very brief rundown. In it, you play as a farmer who's moved from the big city to open up their own farm. You have a plot of land where you can grow crops and raise animals, and it is so relaxing to play. And I've also sunk quite a few hours into it at this point. But it meant that I was suddenly struck with a ton of inspiration when I thought, what if I combine some of our new release goodies with some of our existing Hefty Doodle products, namely the Farm Your Fun stamp set, so I can use those little farmers. So today I'm going to show you how you can combine some of the stuff from your existing craft stash with some of our new release goodies. Let's get into it. I'm using the Hefty Doodle alcohol marker friendly cardstock and this Memento Tuxedo Black ink to stamp out all of my images today. I'm using quite a few different stamp sets, so I'll list them all in the description box for you because trust me, there's a lot to get through. Next, I've picked a selection of Copic markers. Ooh, lovely jubbly. I'm swatching all of my markers out before I use them just to make sure everything is going to blend nicely together and making a note of which colour's which. These colorways are actually inspired by Yana's video on YouTube. I will link it up in the iCards for you so you can check it out and pick up some new favourite Copic colour combinations for yourself. I'm using the wires to colour in the pumpkin on this little pumpkin doggo here. And I'll give you a really easy trick for shading in your images. Extend the lines that are already there. It doesn't sound too crazy, I know, but if you start with your darkest colour and follow the stamped lines of the images and then move lighter and lighter with your markers and extending the lines further and further, it makes this really lovely shaded pattern. And I also love filling in the white space at the end. For his body, I'm using E31, E33 and E35, which are my favourite E-colour markers for colouring critters. If I'm colouring a critter, you can bet your boots it is absolutely one of these colours. I'm doing my pumpkins in a mixture of yellows and oranges just to spice things up a little bit. Ooh, that pumpkin spice. For the few instances that I was a little bit over enthusiastic with my colouring, I fixed all the mistakes with a white gel pen. Just take this coffee cup here, for example, a little bit of white gel pen, and boom, totally fixed. Although, it did remind me of when you mix a takeaway cup and pink lip gloss. I'm using the toner greys to colour in this little batty here. They are some of my favourite grey markers to use, and I'll give you another Copic colouring tip. If you're a beginner to Copic markers, get yourself a set of 3 greys, whether they're toner greys, warm greys, neutral greys. The choice is yours, but I find these are great markers to start with when you're learning on how to blend Copic markers together. They're not as exciting as some of the brighter colours you could choose, I'll admit, but you don't have to worry about whether these hues and shades are going to match. The greys really blend nicely into each other, which makes them a brilliant starting point for learning your blending techniques. This horse is a super special part of this project for me. Part of Stardew Valley's game mechanics are you can trade resources to local businesses to upgrade tools and farm buildings, and it took me forever to get these stables so that I didn't have to run everywhere because I have my own horse. So I'm well pleased that I managed to get to this point in the game, so my horse has to be on this card. And I've also included one of the cows too, which I'm just editing to add some patches on with a memento marker, because I have a bunch of cows in my barn in the game and they are adorable and they bring me milk every day, which is super nice of them because I can sell it. Once I have got everything coloured in, I am going to grab the Hefty Doodle mini die cutting machine. For those pieces of AMFC that are too chunky to fit in the die cutting machine as is, I've grabbed my Hefty Doodle mini paper trimmer and I'm just going to zoop them right down to size. I am going to be really super honest with you here. We were starting off strong at this point with my die cutting, however, by the end of it, I had die cutting fatigue. Die cutting has to be my least favourite part of crafting. Controversial, I know. Let me know in the comments what you think of die cutting. Do you love it or do you hate it? I personally wish I hadn't stamped out so many images.
Because Stardew is a farming game, I'm going to use the Rolling Hills landscape dies, and then I'm going to get creative with some stencils and inking.
I just want to take a moment before we get into ink blending to show you my Distress oxide swatches. How pretty are they? A bit like Copic markers, I was struggling to tell what the ink colour was going to be on the cardstock I was using based just on the lids of the inks, so I swatched everything out. I've then used the Broken China Distress Oxide to add the blue to my sky, and the secret word of today's video is sugary. Sugary. Because that is the first thing that sprung to mind watching this stenciling footage back, is how much the table was wobbling. It happens. I then added some clouds in with Picket Fence Distress ink and the Head in the Clouds stencil before moving on to add some green to my lovely hills with Twisted Citron and Mowed Lawn Distress oxides. I've then splattered that with some Rustic Wilderness Distress oxide mixed with a little bit of water. And as is the case with splattering, it ended up all over me, the media mat, the desk, and most importantly the project, as intended. But it's fine because you can just really easily wipe up Distress oxides, and I've also dabbed off the excess water from my project. Before I move on to assembling my card, I want to talk to you a little bit about the Rolling Hills landscape dies and why they are an absolute essential in my opinion. It's this tuft of grass right here. He's my baby. If you want to add some dimension to your cards, or you feel like sometimes when you pop your critters on the page they don't seem quite as part of the scene as you'd like them to be, you're missing this tuft of grass, baby. All you need to do is pop him on wherever you want him, chuck a little bit of memo tape down so he doesn't run off on you, and run him through your die cutting machine. And he cuts out this little tiny baby tuft of grass. Isn't that just the cutest thing you've ever seen? So one, it adds a really fun texture to your card, but two, you can also tuck your critters behind it like I've done here. Now I need to talk to you about accessories. Accessories are a necessary part of this project because I want to make my farmer and my horse match my in-game farmer and horse. It's just too good an opportunity to pass up. And I'm also going to jazz up my stamped images with some highlights using my trusty white gel pen to give them this really cute cartoony look that fits in with the game. Now I'm going to assemble my landscape dies. So I'm using the biggest hill and the sky and jigsawing them together, but then with the lower two hills, I am overlapping them slightly with each other to add a little bit of dimension. I'm then going to pull this whole scene together using the frame die from the Elm Street die set. I'm adhering it with a bit of 5mm Hefty Doodle foam tape, and oh my gosh, does that not just look like a picture frame? That's adorable! So I spent absolutely ages planning how I wanted all my critters to sit on this scene, so I've cut that out for your own sanity. I'm just going to show you where everyone gets stuck down in the end. I'm using the Gluebert glue here and some reverse tweezers to help me stick these images down, because crafting with long nails can be challenging. But it is a challenge I gladly accept, with the help of tweezers. This is definitely another crafty top tip. Make sure you have a set of tweezers, reverse or otherwise, in your craft stash. They are super handy for, as you can see here, tucking this pumpkin behind a tuft of grass. But they're also really helpful for applying sequins or enamel dots to your projects. Just all the little fiddly bits that sometimes get a bit frustrating otherwise. I've popped my bat up on some foam tape. This is the 12mm Hefty Doodle foam tape, and I'm also using that to stick my farmer onto my card. And I've given her the takeaway coffee cup from the Perfect Blend stamps because 1, I am about everything coffee, and 2, it's also a game mechanic. If you drink coffee, it makes you run about faster. How fun is that? I'm going to finish everything off with a couple enamel dots. This is the Summer Holiday enamel dots, and I've also used some from the Wildflower enamel dots. And here we have the finished card! Yay! Thank you guys for sticking with me while I made this. I am super chuffed with how this has turned out. It is the perfect combination of one of my favourite games and some crafty fun times. Let me show you some close-up pictures of this card. Here's our pumpkin boil looking very cute. And my little farmer and her coffee cup. How cute is that bow? It's adorable. There's my little cow and my chicken friends. Here's Batty. Now the bats in the game usually stay in the mines, but I've let this one out because he's super cute. And here is my superstar horse with his little hat. Special thanks to you from Ranger for reaching this point in the video. If you like this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future Hefty Doodle uploads. If you want to watch any of our live streams, you can check out the Live from Hefty HQ playlist. And most importantly, if you hit the bell icon, you'll be notified when a new video goes up and that we go live. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy crafting!